Corny.
100%.
Broadcasting from Cincinnati, you're listening to the Ringside Reporter podcast. All the news from the world of boxing right here.
Well, I'm talking to you the way I want to talk to you.
Now, here's your host, Eric Lorda.
And we are live. Welcome to the Ringside Reporter show, where we talk about the latest in boxing news. If it's related to boxing, we'll talk about it here. My name is Eric Lorta, and I'm here with my co-host, Joe Habib.
From Boston.
We have a great show for you today, and if you want to call in and ask questions, you can call in right now, 323-870-3857. And we'll be here till about 8 o'clock tonight. And tonight, Beeb, I'm glad to say, I think you might have been wrong. It looks like the Joshua Fury fight may happen, Beeb. My man, Eddie Hearn, has thrown a Hail Mary. Caught in the end zone, son. No time left. He's got a gaggle. Not just one, not just two. A gaggle. A sights ready to go, son. Ready to roll for this fight. What are your thoughts on that? Huh? You going to pay homage to Eddie Hearn now?
Fingers crossed. That's all I can say, man.
Yeah, you're not even going to give Eddie Hearn any dap. You sat there and ran him down for months.
I'll say this.
Ran him down for months, Beeb.
I'll say this.
Months.
I have the utmost respect for Eddie Hearn's determination, his diligence, and just the effort that he has put forth. Not only on this fight, but I think throughout this whole pandemic, I think the Zone has put on some great cards, and I attribute that to Eddie Hearn. So I think Eddie Hearn's done a great job. My only issue with Eddie Hearn is I just think he talks too much to the press and tells them things that he shouldn't be telling them. We don't need to know the fine details, the in-depth intricacies of these contracts. And we don't need to know and be told that something is close when the other side hasn't signed it yet and hasn't agreed upon it yet. We've been here before and gotten our hopes up high only to have them shattered. So many examples I could use. Mayweather Pacquiao.
Oh, stop it. That fight happened.
Lewis Tyson.
Oh, come on. That fight happened too.
Bo Lewis. Okay.
That fight never happened. Yeah, that fight never happened.
Canelo Golovkin went on, that was kind of being dragged out a little bit, right?
You're such a downer, Beeb.
Well, the thing is this.
You're such a downer, man. I'm over here trying to give good news to people.
People want instant gratification, right? And one of the signs of maturity in life is delayed gratification. Delayed gratification.
What?
So if you're able to just be patient and wait for something, in other words, if you want to buy that house, instead of getting out a loan on that house that you can't afford, right? What do? You save up the money, you get a better job so you can pay the mortgage, and you buy the house when you can afford it. Not because you want that instant gratification. You want it now.
Son, so you're a rookie. Just get an arm loan, son.
So part of maturity is being able to accept delayed gratification. But everybody out there wants to feel good immediately. As soon as something is put out there, they like how it sounds. They like what they're being told, whether it's true or not. As long as it makes me feel good, I'm on board with it. Once again, it's all about this. Do you take the red pill, which is the ugly truth? Or do you take the blue pill, which is the pretty lie?
I'm taking the blue pill every time, son.
Well,
blue pill makes me happy, son.
I want the truth. And if the truth hurts, then I'll take a friggin' a Tylenol and I'll deal with the truth.
How dare you?
That's what it's about. So I have the utmost respect for Eddie Hearn. I commend him immensely for working so hard on trying to get this fight done.
Apologize to him.
It's not a knock on Eddie Hearn. And even he came out recently and said, I'm just going to shut my mouth. Even he came out recently and said, you know what? I tell you guys too much, meaning the press. Why did even everybody have to know about the deadline? Why did everybody have to know about all these little in-depth details of the contract? Why? All you did was create anxiety. Because now everyone's like, okay, it's almost done, it's almost done, it's almost done. What you should have said right from the beginning is, I am working hard to get this fight done. I'm doing everything I can. I am putting every ounce of effort that I have behind this fight. The targeted date is the end of July. Hopefully, we can get this done. I am talking to people right now. I'm talking to potential sites right now. And I am going to be able to present offers to both fighters. And I am optimistic and I am hopeful that both fighters will accept the fight. And I am hopeful that we can put this fight on at the end of July. And that's what you say to the press. You don't give deadlines. You don't talk about what's almost done. You don't, like, all this extra information. All it does is create anxiety. That's all it does. And that's my point. And even he himself said, you know what? I got to shut my mouth. I'm giving you guys too much information. Like, when have we ever seen fights being negotiated in the press like they are right now? Because it's all because of social media. It's all because of YouTube and Twitter and all this. When Hagler and Leonard was being put together, we didn't know about all this stuff. We didn't know who was talking. Like, no one cared about all that stuff. Just we knew that they were negotiating, okay? But when the fight was done, that's when it was announced. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
I don't know. I think you owe Eddie Hearn an apology.
Well, Eddie, if I have offended you in any way or hurt your feelings in any way, that was not my intention. I sincerely apologize. If that's what needs to get done. And I hope you get the fight done. I'm on your side, Eddie. I'm behind you 100%.
I think that was good enough. I think that was good.
All right. Is that good?
I think that was good. Yeah, I think that was good. That was sincere.
It was
sincere. I thought that was sincere.
Was.
I thought that was from the heart. That touched me. That touched me.
I am UK's adopted son. There's no question about that.
Well, you have been in the past. I don't know about now. I mean, because you've been bashing Eddie Hearn pretty hard. You've been throwing it around a little bit. No.
I've had my issues with Eddie Hearn in the past.
From Boston.
It's never been personal.
See about that.
Who would you say is the best promoter in boxing right now?
Don King, without question. I'll tell you what, I'm still, I lean toward PBC because they got the best fighters, but they're not putting on the best fights. The best fights are going to come from DAZN right now. So yeah, you got to.
First of all, Eddie Hearn is an actual promoter. PBC is kind of like an entity.
Right, they're not even promoters, right? They're just their management, kind of like a management.
Right now, I would say that Eddie Hearn is the best promoter in boxing.
Yeah.
Look what he's doing right now with Saunders Canelo in front. He's going to put that fight in front of 60,000 people during a pandemic. So
yeah. That still just throws me. 60,000 people in Texas Stadium during a pandemic.
You don't like the sound of that.
I do. I hate the sound of that. Yeah, I hate the sound of that. The only thing I'm not going to do.
And that's my whole thing about this fight. If COVID was not an issue right now, then I would be 100% on board and optimistic that this fight would be happening. I would have very, if any, skepticism about this fight getting done if it wasn't for COVID. I'm not blaming Fury. I'm not blaming Hearn. I'm not blaming anybody. My position on this thing is I'm blaming COVID as the major obstacle here. That's all. I think it's a problem because you still have to deal with all the testing and the traveling, and again, Saudi Arabia just had 900 new cases. What's going to happen if the cases keep going up over there? Is that going to affect them being able to put the fight on? Is the government going to step in? Peep, you're being negative. No, I'm just being concerned.
The way it is. I mean, well, yeah. I mean,
COVID. Again, I'm not trying to make this about me or my family, but my brother, we all know that I had a family member that was hospitalized for COVID. COVID's not a joke. This is not a joke, and you're asking people to be part of an event of this magnitude with COVID being around there. It's a concern. It's a major concern, and it should be a major concern in my opinion. So I'm just being realistic. I don't know how you can talk positive about COVID. Is there anything nice you could say about COVID?
No, not at all.
What's good about COVID?
Nothing at all.
So how can I not be negative about COVID?
Got a point,
right?
Got a point.
You're being negative. No, I'm not being negative about the fight. I'm being negative about the fact that COVID is a major problem. That's all I'm saying.
60,000 people beat 60,000.
That's all I'm saying.
1,000. All right, let's get it rolling here, man. Let's get started with Showtime. The fights, man. Jaron Ennis versus Sergey Lipinets. Jaron Ennis wins by 6th round TKO over Sergey Lipinets. Ennis completely, and when I say completely, I mean completely outclassed Lipinets in this fight. Let me tell you, the thing that impresses me about Boots is his footwork.
Oh,
I think he's got the best footwork in the division right now.
Took the words right out of my mouth. My God.
He gets in and out. He always has great balance on his punches. He can box from the inside, from the outside, wherever he wants. Wherever he wants the fight to go, that's where it'll happen. The other crazy thing is that he goes orthodox and southpaw with no problem. Flawless. No loss. It's like he said after the fight. He said it's just natural. He said he can do either, and he doesn't even know. He doesn't even realize when he's switching. That's a dangerous, dangerous guy, man.
It's instinctive.
Yeah,
I think he does it. I think he does it better than Crawford.
I think he does too, because it's natural to him. You know what I mean? The end came in the 6th round with a big left hook that dropped Lipinets. I mean, it was a big left hand. The right hand, I think a right hand preceded it and shook him, but that left hand just took him square down. I thought he might have been out. I think he probably was still conscious when he hit, but as soon as he went down, referee waved it off. It was over with, man. The guy is fast. He's explosive. My only question is, does he get a title shot anytime soon? They were asking him after the fight. They were like, well, Ugas, Spence and Crawford tied up. I don't know what they're tied up doing, but with Spence and Crawford, would Ugas be your path into the title range? No, Spence is fighting Ugas next. That's not his path.
Yeah.
It's not his path.
Yeah.
So I don't see him getting a title shot anytime soon.
I'm going to make a bold statement. Based on just talent and the eye test, I think this guy is the best welterweight in the world. Now, does he have to prove it by by beating the top guys? 100%. But just looking at him, sometimes we talk about how you just look at a guy.
Yep, that eye test.
By looking at him it's 5'10", 74-inch reach. You talked about the footwork and the balance and such, right? What I notice about the footwork is how he's able to move and set his feet so quickly to punch. Like the way he just moves and stops and sets. How do you deal with that? Just the ability to move and set and transition from defense to offense and offense to defense so quickly. The way he, obviously you can see the fluidity in his combination punching, but a lot of that has to do with him being able to set his feet so quickly after he moves. It's the element of surprise. Every time he'll go in, right? And as he's going in, the guy's backing up. Then when he goes back out and the guy's following him and he sets his feet so quickly, his opponent's not prepared for him to fire back as he backs up and he sets so quickly. So he's backing up, stepping off to the side, moving, circling his opponent, and boom, sets his feet. He just sets his feet so quickly. So him being able to transition so quickly, and not only that, when he moves and he throws punches, how he's constantly moving his head every time he throws a punch. So when he's landing, he's taking his head out of the line of fire. This guy is we talk about adaptive reactive fighters. The way this guy just moves and everything is like extemporaneous, right? Is just amazing. He just has a natural gift. How I talk about Teofimo Lopez, how supernatural that reaction time is. I put him in that same category of just him being how he's able to just react and just let the fight flow so quickly. Like it's almost like the Matrix. Where do you ever watch that movie Equalizer? When Denzel Washington, before he starts, destroying the whole room, how you just see his eyes like turn like glossy, and before he does what he's gonna do, he's already playing it out in his head before it happens. So he already knows like what he's gonna do, like the next 10 steps to wipe out everyone in this room. That's like Jaron Ennis. Like he's already 10 steps ahead of his opponent before his opponent even does something, and he just reacts that quickly. That's what this reminds me of. Yeah. Maybe I'm being a little over the top here, let's put this in context. Sergey Lipinets is one of the most rugged guys out there.
Yeah,
he's a very good fighter. He's a former world champion. This guy's a legitimate Sergey Lipinets top 10, top 12 guy. He ran through him like he was a journeyman last night, with all due respect. And
he really looked like it. I mean, he at no point was Lipinets in this fight. At no point. And the announcers kept saying, well, Lipinets looks flat. Well, listen, he looks flat because of the guy he's in there with. Thank you very much, MEZ Box. We appreciate it. He said Boots Ennis versus Virgil Ortiz Jr., a future terrific fight. Listen, I can't disagree with that. Can't disagree with that. It is. But again, man, it's, what is he, 27, 28-0 now?
Yeah, and he's only 23. He's the same age as Teofimo Lopez. These guys are both 23 years old. So there's no way to go but up here.
Yeah, it's time. We want to see him now. Lipinets was a good fighter, no question, but he's heads and tails above him. I want to see him fight top. They were talking about Danny Garcia. Son, Danny Garcia ain't fighting that guy.
No one's fighting this guy if they don't have to.
No. He's a lot of risk and not a lot of reward, put it that way.
No one's fighting. And I like him too. He's a really nice guy. Like, listen to him.
Yeah.
I'd love to we can get him on the show. I'd love to interview him. He may not be that hard to get. I don't know.
What are you talking about? You know who I am?
That's a good.
What are you talking about? What?
He will not be hard to get. You're right.
Do you know who I am?
You are one of the best.
Can we get him on the show?
You are one of the best PR people in boxing today. Very underrated. You're like a diamond in the rough, man.
A diamond in the sun. I'm a diamond, period. A diamond in the rough.
Yeah.
Are you suggesting that I'm hidden? Are you crazy? Do you know who I am, son?
I think you're boxing's best kept secret.
I would go along and agree with you. I would agree with that. Thank you, Pete.
There we go.
Who do you want to see him fight next?
Jamal James.
Oh, that's a good fight.
Yeah.
That's a good fight. If he can't get like top, I think that's a good fight. I'd like to see him against, I would like to see him, honestly, what I saw last night, I think he matches up very well with Crawford. I really do.
Yeah.
He's a big guy. He's a big welterweight. He's a big welterweight. No?
I think he beats both of them.
He's a big welterweight. I think that's a good fight, man.
I think he beats both Spence and Crawford.
Just with his switching and everything like that. That I tell you, when he said that it's just natural. He doesn't know. He almost doesn't know when he does it. It's just all instinctive. That's a tough guy.
Everyone's saying Conor Benn in the chat. Conor Benn's not ready for this, bro.
No.
I was impressed with Conor Benn. I like Conor Benn, but he's not ready for this, bro.
No, not even close.
This ain't Amir Khan. This is light years ahead of Amir Khan.
Wow, you just dumped all over Amir Khan. Just dumped all over him, babe. You had no shame. Just
red
dumped
pill,
on
baby.
him.
Red pill.
A red pill.
Straight truth, baby. Straight truth. It hurts. Hurts. Sometimes I want to be lied to. When I just had the best sex of my life, and I roll over.
It was a family show, B.
I roll over to a girl and I say, "Man, that was the best I ever had." And even if it wasn't the best she ever had,
sure,
I want her to lie to me and say it was just for that moment. There are situations where I want to be lied to, like that.
Absolutely.
That's a prime example.
That's a good lie, though.
That's what I like. If you
kind of lie we all look
when I used to be a manager, and someone got drunk the night before.
Sure.
I didn't want them to tell me they got drunk the night before. I just wanted to tell them they legitimately were sick and they couldn't come in.
Right.
You know what I mean? So there's certain situations where lies would be acceptable.
Right.
But not when it comes to boxing.
That's right.
Boxing is the most honest sport in the world. Once you're in that ring, it's just you and the other guy. The ring will make you tell the truth about yourself. I'm getting chills.
That was good, man. That was
good. I'm getting chills.
That was really good.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
Should have my own show.
You should.
I could be on ESPN. I should be on ESPN right now. Not Comedy Central.
Beeb's going to get Comedy Central. You'll be on the Disney Channel. Beeb's going to be on the Disney Channel.
I should be syndicated at this point.
Jaron Ennis versus Jonathan Rodriguez. Ennis wins a unanimous decision over Rodriguez by the scores of 115, 112, 116, 111, and 117, 110. I didn't think this fight was that close, to be honest with you. Ennis knocked Rodriguez down in the 8th. He retains a super flyweight belt. These guys, they went at each other. It was, and Rodriguez was trying. I give him that for sure. But listen, man. I mean, he's not on Ennis' level, man. He's just not. I think Ennis is the best super flyweight out there, man. I really do. And that goes for Estrada. That goes for everybody. I want to see him now in the mix. After this fight, they said this was a really tough fight for him. Coming in, I thought he handled it with no issues. The scores were fairly wide.
Yeah.
I really want to see him fight Chocolatito, Estrada. Get him over there with the other guys, man. Let's make this happen.
See, my guy is Rungvisai. How do you think he would do against Rungvisai? Would you pick him over Rungvisai too?
Oh yeah, I would.
Okay. I like Rungvisai.
Yeah, I would. Isn't that the one with chick problems?
Yeah.
Girl leaves him and he's just, oh God, I can't.
You'll never let him live that down.
No, that's right. You know what? He'll never be the same.
Is that always going to be
the same?
Is that always going to be
that's the deal breaker, son?
Is that always going to be a chink in his armor forever?
Always.
Okay.
Just like when Pacquiao found religion and he didn't go to any more cockfights or drinking or pool halls or anything like that. He was never the same guy.
That's a good point.
He wasn't mean. That's
anymore. A good point. Once you lose that edge.
He lost that edge. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. When you're not drinking out there, going to wherever, hey, lose that edge.
Just like when Mickey said to Rocky, he goes, "You ain't been hungry since you won that belt." It's one of those type of moments.
Just got a text. Apparently my wife is now listening, so I got to watch what I say. Well, I'm not going to. All right, I'm not going to. All right, because I don't censor myself. So there it is.
You cannot implement cancel culture on this show.
No way.
Will not be tolerated or accepted.
No way. Not going to happen.
Okay?
Cancel culture, no way.
You cannot censor this show.
Nope.
I check off the box in the category not made for kids on these videos.
Not made for kids. That's right.
So again, these videos are not made for kids.
That's right. Because we go all out, son.
Go all out here, man. This is hardcore stuff on here.
Hardcore. I mean, does it get any more hardcore than this?
I would say no.
I don't think it does.
I don't think it does.
All right. ESPN, Joe Smith Jr. versus Maxim Vlasov for the WBO light heavyweight title. Joe Smith Jr. wins a majority decision over Vlasov by the scores of 114 even, 115, 113, and 115, 112. This was a good fight, man. These two went at it, man. They really did. I tell you what, I was more impressed with Vlasov here. And I'm going to catch a little heat for what I'm about to say. All right. Listen, you can't take it that literal. But he wasn't like to me, he wasn't like the type of the typical like European or Russian type fighter. This guy was real loose. He almost reminded me of like a Roy Jones in the way that he fought, in his style. All right. Hands down, face was out, almost like looking for, right in front of him, hands down, right in front of the guy, moving, gave him just different type of angles. To me, that's what he reminded me a lot. And I'm not saying he was Roy Jones. I'm just saying he reminded me a lot. His style reminded me a lot.
A similarity, not the same.
Correct.
That's all. I get
Correct.
you.
You get me. You get me. We're here. You get me. There was almost how, like Joe Smith, did what he always does. He grinds out fights. That's his gig. There's no two ways. Every fight Joe Smith is in is a rough, tough fight. He doesn't make things smooth. He doesn't make things easy. And this was no different. At the end of the day, man, this fight honestly could have went either way. I didn't score the fight. I was leaning toward Vlasov or a draw. I don't mind that the scores went the way they did. I don't mind that Joe Smith won. I could even see a rematch of this fight, but I do want to see Vlasov fight again. Incidentally, Judge Gerald Ritter gave Smith a 10-8 round in the 11th. All right. Now, it wouldn't have changed anything scoring-wise. I just thought that was odd. In the 11th round, there was no knockdown in the 11th round. It was a hit behind the head, claimed hit behind the head. But, yeah, man, I don't know. And I think Rafa Ramirez in the chat says it's a robbery fight. No, I don't think it wasn't. Listen, when it's that close, there's no robbery, when it's that close. Maestro says either way, Eric. Yeah, I do. I believe that fight really could have went either way. I don't think, listen, the judges gave it to him. I kind of lean toward Vlasov. Beeb, we'll find out who you had in a minute because you actually scored that fight. Maestro said it wasn't that close. I disagree, man. I think it was a very close fight, man. I really do.
I scored the fight 115 and 113 for Vlasov. And unlike Andre Ward, I did not give the second round to Smith because I thought that Vlasov was outworking him the first 2.5 minutes of that round. And just because Smith landed a big right hand at the end of that round, I didn't think that warranted giving him the round. One round I will say that I thought, in my opinion, was a swing round was that third round. And I ended up giving that to Vlasov, but I found myself saying that I possibly could have given it to Smith. I thought that round was I thought Smith started the round off pretty well and Vlasov finished the round pretty well. So that was a round that I could have said was a swing round. So if I give that swing round to Smith, then I would have had the fight a draw. Could this fight have been scored for Smith 115 and 113? Yeah, I guess if you give him the second and third, then it would have been 115 and 113. But one thing I do like that Smith did in this fight was I love the way he finished the fight in the 11th and 12th.
Close it out. Crunch time, son.
Yeah, he closed out the championship rounds very strong, which shows to me that that's the heart of a champion.
Yes.
Do I think he deserved this decision? I didn't score for him, but again, I could see the fight being 115 and 113 either way, or 114 a draw. And also, too, I think he did catch a bad break in the 11th. I think Vlasov did lean forward, and as Smith was throwing the punch, he got hit in the back of the head, not because he intended to intentionally throw the punch in the back of the head. It was because of the way Vlasov leaned forward. So ESPN usually is biased. I actually think they did a good job. I think they did a good job last night with this fight. I think Andre Ward scored the fight a draw. I think that they were giving Vlasov credit. So normally they are biased. I didn't sense a bias last night. One thing I didn't like before the fight even started, they were talking about Better Beef, and they were like almost looking at it as if it was a foregone conclusion that Joe Smith was going to win the fight. So I think in that regard, they did a little bit too much, promotion in terms of Joe Smith, and they seemed to be overlooking Vlasov, but they were wrong because the fight was razor close. Joe Smith said the fight was razor close. He acknowledged that. So
he knew. He knew that it could have went either way.
Yeah, it could have gone either way. And to say this was a robbery, I don't know. I scored at 115 and 113 for Vlasov, but there were one or two swing rounds in there that you could probably have swung to Smith. which would have given him a draw, or which would have given him the 115 and 113. So it is what it is.
Do you think he gets better beef next, or do you think there's a rematch here? I would love to see a rematch, and I hate rematches.
I don't think he gets. I think he gets better beef next. And
I think so too.
And once again, once again, you can't look at this fight and say that Joe Smith is going to get destroyed by Beterbiev, because here's the difference. Beterbiev's not going to have the upper body movement that this guy had, Vlasov. Wow. And although Beterbiev is strong, Vlasov was a former cruiserweight who fought for the cruiserweight title before. Vlasov may not be as big a puncher as Joe Smith. Definitely not as big a puncher as Beterbiev. But when he got inside and bodied Smith, he was pushing him back. So he's a physically strong guy. Now, Beterbiev's a big guy too, but I don't think he's as big and physically strong as Vlasov is. And Beterbiev's not an inside fighter at all. And as I said, Beterbiev is not as, defensively talented as Vlasov. Doesn't have that same upper body slick movement that Vlasov has. So Joe Smith, I think, from a style matchup perspective, I think he matches up better with Beterbiev than he does Vlasov.
Yeah, I would go along with that. I don't think he beats Beterbiev. I think that fight is like bombs away, man.
Yeah.
And I think that Beterbiev can get you out of there. And so can Smith, but I think Beterbiev's a better overall boxer.
The one thing I like about Smith is I like his ability to fight on the outside and work his way in. So he could jab you from the outside and keep you honest. And then he could also work his way in and start ripping those short shots to the body and those sneaky uppercuts up the middle. Whereas Beterbiev is more of a mid-range guy. I don't think he's an inside fighter per se. And I think when he's on the outside, he squares up a lot, and that's how he gets hit. So Beterbiev is very dangerous. He's very heavy-handed. He's in phenomenal shape. He's a very imposing guy that keeps coming at you no matter what you throw at him. But I think Joe Smith may be a tad quicker with the hand speed, and I think he throws straighter punches, and I think he's a little bit better from the outside. That's why I think the fight's interesting. I would actually slightly favor Joe Smith against Beterbiev just because of the matchup. Yeah, I would pick Joe Smith over Beterbiev, believe it or not.
Yeah, I would take Beterbiev. I think, like I said, man, Beterbiev, it's a pick'em fight. No, that's a close fight.
Beterbiev will definitely be the favorite, especially off of this performance. Beterbiev will probably be like a 3-1, maybe even a 4-1 favorite over Joe Smith.
Which is funny because, again, he doesn't have any style like Vlasov does.
No, not at all.
Vlasov, like I said, that was a slick fighter. He was a good fighter, man. So, not what we expected to see.
So you put a guy in front of Joe Smith who is not that slick type style, and that's when he shines.
Yeah.
So again, Beterbiev could be that fight that Joe Smith looks like a superstar in.
Is this the first time you saw Vlasov? It's the first time I saw him.
I think I saw him against Marco Huck a long time ago, but I don't really remember him too much.
Yeah. I was surprised, man. I expected when I heard he was fighting a Russian guy, I thought, wow, that's going to be just a slugfest. And that guy, I mean, I want to see him fight again. He impressed me. Vlasov really impressed me in the fight to the point where I want to see Vlasov before I'd watch Joe Smith again. You know what I'm saying? I'd want to see Vlasov fight somebody else, man, because he was that good. He was that impressive to me. He was that really, really good. Really good. Efe Ajagba was on the undercard here against Brian Howard. In what has to be at least a consideration for knockout of the year, Ajagba knocks out Brian Howard in the third round. It looked like he got hit with a sledgehammer, man. Ajagba hit him with that straight, that right hand that was like straight out of a movie. And he dropped like he got shot, man. It was insane. His power, I'm going to tell you right now, his power is like Deontay Wilder type power. That's not normal. That's not normal power. I remember, like I said, when Deontay Wilder was here, when he was coming up, he was the undercard in Cincinnati. And we were on the floor, so we were fairly close to ringside. And when he hit that guy, I mean, you just heard it, and you heard boom, and his lights were out just like that. Ajagba's got that kind of power. He's got that kind of power. Now, I think Wilder is probably a better boxer than Ajagba. I know that sounds funny. I know that, but Ajagba's still got a lot to learn, and he's still progressing. But wow, can this guy hit, man? Man, this guy can really hit you. So good stuff. On the zone, Conor Benn versus Sammy Vargas. Conor Benn needed just one round to stop Samuel Vargas. Ben came out firing from the start. He was hitting Vargas with combinations and hitting him cleanly, I think. That first right hand that Ben hit him with, it was a combination, a left-right combination. Just landed so flush. And Vargas took it. He took it well, but again, he's getting hit solid from the time the bell rang to the time they stopped the fight. What did you think about the stoppage? I did think it was a little premature. But, that being said, I think the writing was on the wall here. I don't want to see anybody get hurt, but I thought it was a little premature, though.
I didn't, for the simple fact of this. Whenever I see someone's head like snap back like that, that's scary. You know what I mean? And he wasn't punching back, and the ropes were basically holding him up. And then I think one of the announcers was like, "Oh, well, since the ropes was holding him up, why didn't they just give him a count?"
Standing 8, yeah. He's got a point. That's what it's supposed to be. That's what it's supposed to be.
To me, I think he looked very hurt. I think his eyes rolled back in his head.
Yeah. And again, the referee's in front of him. I'm not. I can only see what I see on TV.
In real time, I think a lot of people would say maybe that was a quick stoppage. But this is just my perspective. Whenever I see a head snap back like that, and then I see eyes roll back in the head, and then I'm also looking at the fact that he's not throwing punches back, and his legs just looked so heavy in there, like he just looked like they were gone, right?
Yeah.
I thought he was done. And if you let that go on any longer, he could have gotten seriously hurt.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, man, the referee's in front of him. We're not, it looked to me like, but again, sometimes it looks like somebody gets hit with a real clean shot. You can look at that Ennis when he knocked him down, and he knocked Sergey down in the middle round or whatever, and then it turns out it wasn't a shot. It looked like a shot. Turns out he tripped, and it looked,
Trip. In real time, it looked like he knocked him down, though. I didn't even see the feet dangle. So
there was a time also in that fight where Lipinets hit him with a perfect right hand. I mean, it was solid, and they showed the replay. It wasn't so solid. It looked like he was moving with the punch, and it looked, So again, man, he's in front of him. We're not, so we don't see all the angles. And I'm willing to give him the benefit of the doubt because that guy was getting smashed in there. So what are you going to do?
To me, it didn't look like Vargas was going to recover from that.
No. Yeah, it's like 6 in one hand, half a dozen in the other.
Yeah.
It is.
But again, that's my opinion.
Yeah, and that was about it for the zone. There wasn't too many interesting fights on there, was there, Beeb?
I thought the 2 female fights were pretty good. I know you want to gloss over that.
I didn't say. I coughed.
I know Savannah Marshall had a pretty easy fight, 3rd round stoppage over a late substitute. Savannah Marshall, I think, reminds me a lot of Tyson Fury. She looks like a female version of Tyson Fury, the way she moves, and she's kind of herky-jerky, and she keeps that hand low, and the way she just flicks that jab out there. But she can punch. I mean, she knocked this girl out with a big right hand over the top, and this girl just didn't want any more. But the big fight on this card was Shannon Courtney and Ebony Bridges.
Ooh, the blonde bomber. Yeah, I tell you what, I would rather watch Ebony Bridges watch a fight than actually watch her fight. Man, she is something else, isn't she?
Well, once again, I'm going to say something probably that a lot of people don't want to hear. My hat goes off to both fighters. This was a very fun, entertaining fight to watch. But to me, the narrative of this fight was, because Ebony Bridges was basically a very outspoken young lady, number one, because
check her Instagram.
She was always out there kind of wearing certain types of clothing, showing herself off to the public.
I've seen all those pictures.
The narrative of this fight was to show basically that Ebony Bridges is not just another pretty face. She can actually fight. Now, both of these young ladies did not have a ton of fights. Shannon Courtenay had 7, Ebony Bridges had 5. So the argument could be made that, why are these two women fighting for a world title with such little fights under their belt? But I've seen both of them fight before. And to me, Shannon Courtenay has legitimate boxing skills. If I were just looking at her, I could tell you that I believe she's a good fighter with legitimate skills. Okay. Shannon Courtenay.
Yeah.
So when you go on BoxRec, there's like 129 female bantamweight fighters that are registered in the world, right? There's only 129 of them, right?
Right.
Ebony Bridges is ranked 30, and Shannon Courtenay is ranked number 6. So for me, to be honest, after watching this fight, right, I had the fight 97-93. I thought I scored the fight 7 rounds to 3. Second round, was a swing round. It could have even been 8 rounds to 2. So the announcers were trying to basically sell Ebony Bridges as a legitimate fighter. Okay. To me, again, she's ranked 30 in the world, right? Shannon Courtenay's like ranked 6th in the world, right? So as I said, Shannon Courtenay, when I watch her fight, look at her fight, the way she just, turns her punches over, the way she can gauge range, the way she moves and she can circle her opponent, the way she's able to gauge distance, the way she's able to put her punches together, be fluid, how good of a jab she has, the way she's able to set her punches up. She could throw straight punches. She could, throw short uppercut, looping shots, whatever. To me, she's a very skilled fighter. When I look at Ebony Bridges, she looks to me like a plotter who throws wide looping shots, and that are basically arm shots. She comes forward, and she has a very repetitious, basic style, and she has a lot of wasted motion. She swings her body back and forth. Instead of just making subtle head movement back and forth, she's swinging her body back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. So the way this fight was being talked about, the way this fight was being promoted, and during the fight while I was watching it, these announcers were trying to tell me I was watching something that I wasn't. This was not a close fight. I thought that she was being thoroughly outboxed in this fight. I picked her to lose by 3rd round stoppage. Now, just because she went the distance, she did better than I thought she was going to do. Am I going to give her extra credit for that? Absolutely not. She showed a lot of courage, a lot of heart in this fight, and a lot of determination in this fight. But to sit there, because she showed heart, determination, and a lot of courage, and she showed good conditioning, right? Because she had that big swollen eye and she was able to go the distance, I'm not going to sit there and say she's a better fighter than what she is. Now, at best, she's an average fighter. So you have to ask yourself, would any other average fighter, if they did not look like she looked and they did not talk like she talked and they didn't have the ability to promote themselves the way she did, would they have been there yesterday? I'm going to say no. Now, do I like Ebony Bridges? Yeah, she seems like she has a very good personality.
She's got great personality.
She's
I'll
very,
tell you that right now.
She's a very
unbelievable personality.
She's a very attractive woman. There's no doubt about that. But just because she talked, just because she talked her way into this fight, and fair play to her, if you're able to talk your way into the fight, then you damn well deserve it. She did a phenomenal job at promoting herself, self-promoting herself. But again, I'm not going to buy into the fact that Ebony Bridges is a world-class championship level fighter. She's 34 years old. Shannon Courtenay is 27. She's in her prime. She's going to continue to get better. So the way the announcers were trying to say that Ebony Bridges, she's this big power puncher, she's this stronger woman. 10 seconds into the fight, the announcer is saying, you could already see Ebony Bridges has the strength advantage here. 10 seconds in when nothing
10 seconds
happens?
in, right.
How do you determine that? So they were really going out of their way to try to legitimize Ebony Bridges as a championship level fighter. She's not a championship level fighter. She's not a good boxer. She's not a very good boxer. She's not a great boxer. I don't think she's going to get better. To me, she's a fighter who throws herself forward. She's very aggressive. She lumbers forward. She throws wide winging shots. A lot of the shots that she was throwing, they were not landing clean. They were being caught on the gloves. And basically, these announcers were trying to sell to the public and imply to the public that they were watching something entirely different than what was going on. So the reality situation is this was a 7-3, 8-2 fight. It was a clear cut decision. It was a pretty wide decision, in my opinion, for Shannon Courtenay. And then the way these announcers were screaming and crying at the end of this fight, oh, these are horrible scorecards. Scoring was way too wide. Oh, Shannon, Ebony Bridges definitely proved she belonged. No, she didn't prove she belonged. She did not prove she belonged. She showed heart, courage, and she tried very hard, and she showed that she has a lot of determination. That's fine. We can give her credit for that. But to sit there and say that she is a better than above average fighter, it's just not true. And if I was to tell you that, then I would be intellectually dishonest. And I'm not going to be like these DAZN guys that just because this girl has the look and she has the, she can talk and everything. She's good with the mic and all that. And she can promote and she knows how to generate interest because of her personality and because of her looks. That does not mean she can fight. I think Shannon Courtenay is a much, much better, highly skilled fighter over her. And it showed. So this fight was not close. Okay. Ebony Bridges is not a strong power punching fighter. She was 5-0 with 2 knockouts. And they were trying to tell us that she was this knockout puncher, this physical strong punch. She wasn't imposing her physical strength on Shannon Courtenay yesterday. Every time she had Shannon Courtenay up against the ropes, Courtenay would spin her around and get out of there. So I just think that DAZN did a horrible job in trying to sell the public something that was just not there. And that's just how I summed this whole fight up. So the fight wasn't close. Ebony Bridges, I do not think will ever be a world champion. I like her. I like her personality. I don't mean to slate her in any way or disrespect her in any way, but the ugly truth here is she's just not a top level boxer. She doesn't have top level skills. She's 34 years old. She has virtually no amateur back experience, and it is what it is, and that's the end of the day. That's just the end of it.
Wow, that's pretty rough, Beeb. That's pretty rough, and she's never going to be a world championship boxer. And what's wrong with that? I mean, at the end of the day, what's wrong with that? I think you're being a little rough on her. You know what I mean?
This is the problem with the world we live in today, where everybody gets a trophy, right?
Right.
You have these people tell kids, you could be anything you want to be. No, you can't be anything you want to be. You could be anything your talent allows you to be. Okay? Am I ever going to be in the NBA? Am I ever going to be in the NBA doing 360 reverse dunks? No. Am I ever going to be a world-class heavyweight boxer? No.
You don't have the heavyweight frame, Beeb.
That's the reality. That's the reality of the situation. Okay?
I don't know. I don't feel the need to take a dump on her, though. I mean, this is a nice girl we're dealing with. I mean, she's super nice, and she's got a great, great personality. And I don't know. I think you're being a little hard on her.
Savannah Marshall is legitimate. I actually think Shannon Courtenay.
You think she's better looking than Ebony Bridges?
I think Shannon Courtenay is prettier than Ebony Bridges. I like Shannon Courtenay. I like the cute.
I like Ebony Bridges.
I like
this.
I don't like that porn star look. I like the cute.
I love that. Yeah, that's
I
mine.
like the cute look.
I like the porn star look.
I like the cute look.
Well, maybe we'll see her on Brazzers soon. I don't know what to tell you.
That's
Beeb said her career's over. Beeb said her career's over. Well, that's what you said. That's what you said. You said her career's over.
She's 34 years old, Eric.
Yeah, that is kind of old for Brazzers, though, no? I don't know. I don't know what I'm talking about. You're terrible. That's what I know. Terrible. Stepping on people's dreams, Beeb.
Red pill.
Hope you're happy. All right, let's talk about the upcoming schedule. And let me tell you what, I am stoked because this upcoming schedule, we have the fight of the year, Beeb. Oh, yeah. April 17th from Atlanta, Georgia on pay-per-view, Beeb. And let me tell you what, let me tell all you people what, I'm plunking down the money for this one. Jake Paul versus Ben Askren, 8 rounds, cruiserweight, son. Cruiserweights. Jake Paul, where's he from? Titletown, son. That's where he's from. What do you think about that fight, Beeb? You paying it? You buying it? He's buying it, son.
I wish I had $1 million to bet Dana White because there's no way in hell Ben Askren is winning that fight.
I don't think so. Ben Askren, you know what? I saw his training. You know what he's doing? He's really fighting like on the inside and he's going to try to smother him and everything like that. I don't know. We'll see.
He has very poor punching technique.
Yes, he does. Yes, he does.
Extremely poor punching technique.
Yeah. Great wrestler, but it ain't a wrestling match.
No,
on the undercard, Regis Prograis versus Ivan Redkach. 10 rounds, junior welterweights. Let's see here. Steve Cunningham versus Frank Mir, former UFC champion. And yes, Steve Cunningham, SS Cunningham. 8 rounds heavyweights. Let's see what else. Yeah, that's about it for there. So, I mean, not a great card. Just like, just okay. Regis Prograis is on it. That's what I want to see. That's definitely not a pay-per-view fight. But it should be a fun card. Isn't this a Triller? This is a Triller thing, right?
Yeah.
It should be fun.
I'm actually intrigued by the Jake Paul fight.
I kind of am too.
I
kind of am too.
I like the Jake Paul fight.
I'm curious to see. I mean, you're talking about a legit world-class athlete here. Not Jake Paul. I'm talking about Ben Askren. He's a legit. I mean, this is an Olympic caliber type wrestler, man. But we'll see what happens. I don't know.
Tarver was supposed to get the Mir fight, and it's so stupid how that whole thing that stupid stipulation. I guess he was supposed to have 10 fights in a. He's supposed to have more. He's supposed to have 10 fights in the 10-year period. I guess he only had 5 or whatever. It's so stupid.
Right. That's the one. That's the thing that almost got Rocky in that Mason Dixon fight. So there you go. April 17th, Hollywood, Florida on DAZN. Demetrius Andrade versus Liam Williams, 12 rounds for Andrade's WBO middleweight title. Guys, this is a terrible fight. This is a terrible, terrible fight. I want to see Andrade against somebody legit. Not that Liam Williams is not legit, but Liam Williams is not going to win this fight. We all know he's not going to win this fight. This is a showcase fight. He's had a shot. It's not working for him. You know what I mean? He's not going to win this fight. I want to see Andrade versus a top-tier guy. Liam Williams is not that guy, period. Christopher Pearson versus Carlos Gongora, 12 rounds, super middleweights. I believe Pearson's from Ohio. And that's about it. Otha Jones III versus Jorge David Castaneda, 8 rounds, lightweights, also on that card. Let's see, Fox, April 17th. I think this is on Big Fox, like Channel 19 type Fox. Tony Harrison versus Bryant Perella, 10 rounds, junior middleweights. That's okay. That's a good fight.
A bad fight.
Decent fight. Not a bad. Omar Juarez versus Jesse Roman, 10 rounds, junior welterweights. Our guy. White Magic, Vito Milnecki versus James Martin, 8 rounds, welterweights. That's going to be good. And Tabor Apache versus Dion Nicholson, 12 rounds, cruiserweights. And Apache, they're really, really starting to hype up. So, yeah, there we go. And that is it for this week. That is it for this week.
It's a lot of fights.
A lot of fights. A lot of good fights. I mean, some decent fights. Fights.
Boxing's starting to come back, bro.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on that Andrade fight, man?
very disappointed in it.
I am too.
I
I don't understand why you can't find this guy somebody to fight.
Why can't Andre fight a guy like Sergey Deverenchenko? Why can't he fight a Danny Jacobs?
What? Right. That's a good fight. Yeah, I don't know.
Why can't he fight a Gennady Golovkin?
Is it Andrade or Andrade?
It's Andrade actually. And
I mess it up because like I hear it different time. I hear it different ways. So
And I was at Foxwoods one time because Andrade's from Providence.
Yeah.
He's Cape Verdean. And because Andrade is how you would pronounce it in Spanish, but he's Cape Verdean, so it's Andrade.
Gotcha.
And I remember I was at a weigh-in for a card that he was at. I think when he was fighting Vanis Martirosyan and for Foxwoods, right?
Mm-hmm.
And people were like yelling out Andrade, and I was sitting next to his cousin, and his cousin goes, "It's not Andrade, it's Andrade, it's Andrade." So ever since I just remember that every time someone says Andrade, because his cousin was like, "It's Andrade, it's Andrade."
You heard it straight from the family, yeah.
Yeah, the cousin said. That's the cousin said. Yeah.
Harold Benson says Andrade is not marketable. You got. I get you, and he's one of those guys. He's almost reminds me of like a Guillermo Rigondeaux, where he's a lot of risk and not a whole lot of reward. So, yeah, I don't know. All right, this is coming straight off the wire. Antonio sending me something. My news guy. Fresh off the wire is a story you sent me earlier from the Cop. Evander Holyfield, who's 58 years old. Hard to believe Holyfield's 58. Returns to fight Kevin McBride in an exhibition on Triller's Fight Club. Peter Kahn confirms to Mark Kriegel this fight will happen in June.
So the Tyson fight's not happening.
Thank you, Antonio, for the news. So yeah, the Tyson fight's out. So Tyson said he's not fighting on Triller anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know.
Don't know what to make of this.
Well, the thing is, man, like I think that look, again, remember when the celebrity boxing comes and goes, this is going to ultimately, this will ultimately die down. I would think that this will ultimately die down, and they're going to have to start putting on some more like legit cards. I don't want to see Snoop Dogg fight somebody. They're going to have like some legit stuff in there at times. And with the Jake Paul fight, they're doing the right thing by putting Regis on the undercard. Regis, high caliber fighter, world class fighter. Redkach, everybody knows who he is. So it's I get you, but those again, that's not a pay-per-view caliber fight. So we'll see how it does. I'm interested to see how it does. But anything the Pauls are attached to seems to go to the moon. So
yeah.
There you go. Tony Ayo, go ahead.
When's Mayweather fighting?
Who knows?
Logan Paul.
Who knows? Last I heard this yesterday, Henry Cejudo took to social media and put down something to the effect that he's fighting Mayweather. He's going to box Floyd Mayweather. Henry Cejudo, of course, the former UFC champion. I don't know. And I know that Dana White met with Mayweather a couple of weeks ago. They posted pictures of it and everything like that on Dana's social media. So it might have some legs to it. I don't know. Tony Ayo asked, who is Oscar fighting next on Triller, or who's Oscar fighting on Triller? Nobody of note. That's how I'll tell you this. Oscar came back and of course says he wants a current guy. And of course that's all hyperbole. He'll end up fighting maybe Snoop or somebody else like that. It won't be a legitimate fight, or just somebody who's, kind of off the rails or whatever. So yeah, he said, why isn't Oscar fighting on DAZN instead of Triller? Yeah, that's a great question. That's a real good question. I don't know. A very good question though. So yeah, there you go. Let's see here, and then the latest on the rumors with Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua. Of course, we had that at the beginning of the show, but if you didn't hear it, Tyson Fury received. They were doing the countdown or whatever. If you were following his social media, they received the stuff today, I guess, or yesterday, about all the places and stuff, the sites, and I think there was quite a few sites and some big offers from what I understand. From what Fury was saying, there were some big offers. They're going to mull them over and then look over. So it looks like the fight may happen, might happen after all. So there you go. The thing, and I was talking to Beeb about this prior to the show, the thing I didn't like about this whole thing was John Fury coming out and kind of just being counterproductive by saying, well, they don't have anything. They're just using our name, blah, blah, blah. Meanwhile, this is what he's doing. This is what he's doing behind the scenes and everything. He's trying to get this fight going. He's trying to, get all this stuff going and everything like that. And it's almost counterproductive when you got another guy in the other guy's camp saying, we're not going to, fight's over, blah, blah, blah. You're really working against yourself there. You're trying to get the biggest deal possible. Don't like shoot yourself in the foot.
Yeah. I mean, the whole thing is this, I guess John Fury obviously is the father of Tyson Fury, and he's concerned that his son has been inactive for such a long period of time. And I know the Furies are frustrated, but I just think too much is being put out in the press, and not just Eddie Hearn, but both sides. When you talk about Tyson Fury and John Fury and even Eddie Hearn, all three of these people are just talking too much. And all these things that are being said would be better left behind closed doors. Because I don't think it's doing the fight any good or doing making the fight get done any faster or easier. It's not helping the process get moved along. It's only being a deterrent, because it just makes people more anxious, more disappointed. And if for some reason the fight doesn't happen, then it's just going to dampen everybody's spirits as we move forward to look forward to this fight at some point later in the future. So I just don't see how this does any positive while we're waiting for this fight to get announced by either side. By either side.
Yeah, it doesn't do any good. And hopefully this fight comes off. And my guess is it'll be in Saudi Arabia or the Middle East or something like that. And in one of those places, that's my best guess. But, listen, man, the U.S. is not a bad spot for this fight. With Texas, you got Texas and Florida open and wide open. They got WrestleMania? That's in Florida, I think. And that holds a whole bunch of people there and stadiums or whatever. They got the Canelo fight in Texas, holds a whole bunch of people. I mean, listen, man, I wouldn't go, but that's just, hey, look, man, I mean, it is what it is.
But if it wasn't for COVID, this would be a natural Vegas fight with the Vegas
for sure,
the Vegas site fee and the amount of money per ticket that could be charged. Now then you say, well, Beeb, that kind of sucks for the fans in the UK who want to come over and watch the fight.
Yeah, nobody cares.
But the thing is this, I mean, the ticket prices would be affordable. They just wouldn't be able to obviously buy those $5,000 ringside, so they would still be affordable tickets.
Yeah, I mean, but at the end of the day, they don't care. They don't care where the fight is.
I remember when the whole Pacquiao Mayweather thing was finalized, and they were saying how they were going to put it in Vegas. I think it was wasn't it at the MGM Grand?
Something like that, either MGM or T-Mobile, one of those.
I think it was I think it was a T-Mobile or the MGM Grand, one of them.
Yeah.
But then I got into a dispute with somebody, and they're like, "Oh, the fight should have been in Texas. That way, the tickets would have been more affordable, and then everyone could have gone to it." And it's like, dude, just buy the fucking pay-per-view. What difference does it fucking make?
Doesn't matter. You're not going there, and you're not going anyway. You're not going anyway, son.
Now the UK fans, I appreciate how good they are, how loyal they are, and how supportive they are. I just think they're the best boxing fans in the world. So for me, just based off of that, it would be nice for them to get the fight in the UK, because I think they deserve it.
I think it should be in the UK.
I
really do.
I think the UK fans deserve it because of how loyal they are to their fighters, and because they're such great boxing fans, they travel the whole globe to see their fighters, and they're constantly supporting their fighters, win, lose, or draw. They stand behind them through thick or thin. So I give the UK boxing fans credit for being the best boxing fans in the world by far. Right? So
they deserve it.
I think they deserve the fight.
But it ain't going to happen there.
And, it's sad that they're not going to get it. But
I think so too. Well, look, the Battle of Ohio took place in Vegas, so they could care less. Let me tell you what, the promoters could care less where they put this fight.
Yeah.
They're gonna put it wherever it makes the most money, and that's bottom line. So,
And again, the fighters are gonna expect to be paid the most amount of money that they could be paid.
this son,
How about them?
this
Reds?
Cincinnati son, Reds rolling son. I think they should end the season right now and just give them the title. Ain't nobody gonna beat them. They might go undefeated. I mean, except that one loss they had on opening day, but bar that, 100 some games. Unbelievable. They're rolling, Beeb. Title town. Hey, listen, man. Hey, it ain't too late to jump on a bandwagon, Beeb. It ain't too late. Know what I'm saying? You're always welcome.
I'm not a big baseball fan, to be honest with you.
I'm only a big baseball fan if my team is winning. That's it.
Yeah. What was I think the Red Sox. When did the Red Sox won the championship? Back in 2000.
I don't know. I don't know. They didn't even have cars back then.
2013. I think it was 2013 or 14. The Red Sox won the title.
My friend is a huge Red Sox fan, and he's from Cincinnati, which I never did understand. Like, why are you? What's the deal? Why are you a Red Sox fan? He's I just like them. I just like the Red Sox.
2008. Tony Ayo said 2018. Oh yeah, that's right. It was 2018.
Was it 2018? Was that right? Yeah.
Yeah, he's right. He's right.
So yeah, man. All right, guys, that's it. That'll do it for this edition of Ringside Reporter. As always, you can catch Joe Habib on Twitter at jhabib1. Find our YouTube channel at ringsidereporterlive.com. And you can find me on Twitter at ringside73. And we will see you guys next week.
Do you think we're going to get an announcement this week about the fight?
Yes, I do. And once we do, let's go live with it.
Okay. So you think by the end of this week we're going to get an announcement that the fight is set?
Yeah.
I do. Percentage-wise, how confident are you?
90%. 90%.
Really? Guess what I am?
0.0.
I'm 50-50.
50-50.
I know. Everyone hates me. I'm getting.
You're such a negative Nancy. We ended the show. We were going to end the show on like this
positive note.
Positive note, talking about my hometown, Cincinnati, and this is what we get. This is what we get. Negative Beeb.
You going to watch WrestleMania tonight?
I don't think so. I think it was on last night too. But I'm not going to watch it.
Yeah, I'm not really into WrestleMania anymore.
Yeah. All right, guys, take it easy.